It's deadly at close quarters, a weapon with specialized uses that no other gun can handle. It's the combat shotgun, a unique tool for the modern infantryman. A key weapon in the U.S. military arsenal. The shotgun has left its mark on the battlefield for centuries. We're tracking the evolution of this iconic firearm, spotlighting new features as it becomes more intimidating and incredibly lethal. This is the big dog of close quarters combat. This is the combat shotgun. And this is a weapon that changed the world. Firepower. Nothing shaped military capability more. I'm Wil Willis, former Army Ranger and Air Force pararescueman. I've trained with modern weapons until firing them is second nature. Now I'm teaming up with leading experts to examine the greatest military firearms of all time and discover how these weapons change the world. Targets! For the Marines of the 1st Law Enforcement Battalion here aboard Camp Pendleton, the shotgun is a versatile tool, just as effective for CQB as it is for large-scale riot control. The official Joint Service Combat Shotgun for the U.S. military is the Benelli M1014, commonly known as the M4. First adopted by the Marine Corps in 2001, the M4 is semi-automatic, which means that it will fire just as fast as a shooter can pull the trigger. The Benelli M4 is built for devastating close-quarters combat. A collapsible buttstock means it can be held in a firing position in tight spaces. And with a range of 55 yards, there's nothing it can't touch in urban warfare. The Benelli M4, it's a great weapon system, feels good in my hands. The pistol grip gives me a familiarity that I really dig. It's got Trijicon sights on the back, red dot up front. Easy to acquire a good sight picture with that kind of highlighted sight system. It's smooth, action's great, recoil's manageable, fantastic weapon system. The Benelli semi-auto action boosts its firepower. After each shot, explosive gases drive the internal mechanics. They eject the spent casing, cock the hammer, and load a new round, all in the blink of an eye. The Benelli has come a long way from America's first combat shotgun, the Winchester Model 1897. First seeing action in World War I, where on the battlefield, the Winchester earns the nickname, the trench gun. In the fall of 1918, a determined Allied offensive pushes German troops out of France. But die-hard German units attempt to stand strong. Sergeant Fred Lloyd is one of the American troops out in front. He carries a Winchester trench gun. Its 12-gauge stopping power makes him a one-man army. Sergeant Lloyd pushes forward, braving fire from German rifles. By the time he's done, 30 soldiers are dead or in full retreat. Armed with just a combat shotgun, Sergeant Fred Lloyd liberates an entire town. The trench gun used in World War I was a powerful weapon for its time. But from its longer range to its larger magazine capacity, this Benelli M4 tops it by a long shot. I've called in former Marine weapons instructor Brett Miller to break down the finer points of the weapon.
The Benelli M4, fantastic weapon. Pistol grip, collapsible stock, A lot of options, a lot of power. Only weighs 8 pounds. Take it anywhere, do anything with it. That's it.
All right, so Brett, the famous Benelli M4. Tell me about it.
Well, Benelli M4, it's a great weapon. It's Italian-made for the Marines in the late 90s, about 1999. It fires about 25,000 rounds without replacing a single part. Just a reliable weapon.
And it's also 12 gauge, which is the most common combat shotgun caliber.
You don't get more versatile than the 12 gauge shotgun. You know, you can use it for anything. Long distance, short range, room clearings, door breachings. That's what the shotgun's good for.
The key to the M4's versatility is ammo. Double-aught buckshot sees most of the action. These lead pellets are about 1/3 of an inch in diameter. A typical combat round contains a cluster of between 7 and 9, more than enough to do heavy damage. The M4 can also fire rifled solid slugs. The rifling allows them to travel more than twice as far as double-aught pellets. This is the go-to round for long-distance shots, or for punching through heavy brush to reach a target. Birdshot rounds contain at least 40 small lead pellets. They're typically used to hunt birds due to the wide spread of the pellets.
We also have right here the breaching rounds, which are compressed copper, good for getting indoors, getting through doors, hinges, bolts, things like that.
The Benelli also fires less lethal rounds.
Less lethal rounds would be like a beanbag round here, which we have. It's about 1.25 ounces of soft lead, small lead pellets, basically used to incapacitate some perpetrator, somebody, without killing them.
I've set up a demo to see the Benelli fire 4 different rounds in a combat mission. I've loaded all 4 in the magazine in the order they'll be used. First, I'll be firing what's called a doorbuster round. It's used for breaching doors.
That's it.
Now, it's also officially designated as a frangible piece of ammunition, which means that once it hits that rigid target, it starts to crumble and break apart. Now, that's to prevent over-penetration of the door, ricochet that could injure me or my teammates.
That's right.
After breaching the door, I'll fire beanbag, double-aught, and slug rounds at the 3 targets to compare the damage.
That's it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Go. Some good shooting there, Will.
So right here with the beanbag round, obviously I've got the center mass shot. You can see the beanbag penetrated and it didn't actually go through the target. That's why these are called less lethal. It's not that they can't nullify and kill a target, it's just that there's less likely chance.
And normally less than lethal shots are aimed at the limbs.
Okay.
Instead of chest and head.
All right, so then over here with the double-aught buck, you get the nice spread pattern center mass, just like you would expect to see. And then down here, you can see that some of that wadding and even the plastic portions of the shell have come through and, you know, injured this target.
That's it.
All right. And then with the slug, I mean...
Self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Straight to the center.
About it.
Small hole in the front, big hole in the back.
A good day for me, but not a good day for this homey guy. The Benelli M4 is an advanced semi-auto shotgun, but some combat units prefer pump-action shotguns like the Mossberg 590, which is more reliable when firing less lethal rounds. On pump-action shotguns, sliding the forestock back ejects the spent shell and cocks the action. Sliding it forward loads a new round into the chamber. Virtually all pump-action shotguns have under-barrel tube magazines. Most hold between 4 and 8 rounds. So what do you think are the advantages of a semi-automatic shotgun over a pump-action?
To be honest, probably just speed. I mean, as fast as you can pull the trigger, as fast as the round goes off. With both of them, you know, a lot of firepower downrange.
Well, you know, I've also heard people say that if you're working a pump action, your eye and the sights have to come off the target.
You know, highly trained professional will keep their eyes on target all the time.
Exactly.
You know, what they do with their hands is what they do with their hands.
I want to test the functionality of your Mossberg against this Benelli. So what I've done is I set up a little shooting course for us.
All right.
So we'll start from this position. On the first shot, you brought the timer, right?
I did.
We have 4 targets each. And as we might find on a battlefield, they're at different ranges. We'll both be loaded up with buckshot, so let's see which combat shotgun, the semi-automatic or the pump action, will cut down its targets the fastest.
Discover the past with exclusive military history documentaries and ad-free podcasts presented by world-renowned historians, all on History Hit. Watch them on your smart TV or on the go with your mobile device. Download the app now to watch everything, from the gripping story of the Band of Brothers to Operation Barbarossa and D-Day. Immerse yourself in the dramatic stories of this remarkable era by signing up via the link in the description.
Time starts with the first shot from this firing position. You have to eliminate the target from each firing position until we get to that concrete wall. The clock stops when you blast a hole through that. It might take a few rounds, so don't be afraid to reload.
Never am.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, start it up. All right, you ready?
Ready?
Go.
After 9 rounds, I have to reload again. In combat, time is a decisive factor. A delay, even of seconds, can mean you take a bullet instead of firing.
34-31. Not bad for a Ranger. 34-31.
You know, the double-aught buck didn't punch through the cinder block like I thought it would. It took me quite a few rounds.
Good
I
shoot.
reloaded for you.
Appreciate it, sir. Let me give you this. All right, give the bad boy a try.
34-31 is the time to be.
That's it.
Those distances weren't much of a problem for the Benelli. Now, let's see what a United States Marine can do with a pump-action Mossberg. Ready?
Go.
He's having to reload to punch through the wall. $35-22.
35. I missed you by 1 second.
As Brett demonstrated, distance wasn't an issue. A trained shooter can get rounds on target with a pump action as quickly as a semi-auto. But when seconds count, it looks like the semi-auto is slightly superior. The overwhelming firepower represented by today's shotguns didn't appear overnight. In fact, the history of the combat shotgun goes back hundreds of years. The direct ancestor of every combat shotgun on the planet is the legendary Blunderbuss, also known as the Thunderpipe. I've asked early weapons expert Paul Masterson to brief me on this flintlock muscle weapon.
My favorite characteristic about the Blunderbuss is its versatility. It's not always the most accurate weapon, but what it lacks in accuracy, it makes up for in just sheer violence.
The famous Blunderbuss. Can you show me how to load it?
Absolutely. So you'd start by taking it to half cock. You take your primer, Prime the pan, lock it down. You're gonna take your pre-measured charge, put it down the barrel. Take your shot, put that in.
How many shot go down that barrel?
For this is a 44 caliber ball, so we're using 6 of these.
Okay.
And then last, you're gonna put your wadding in there, take out your ramrod, tamp it down, return the ramrod, cock it all the way back, and you're good to go.
This thing isn't gonna blow my hands off, is it?
You know, you never know with black powder weapons, but probably not.
I was confidence building. All right, going hot. You always get that delayed sort of reaction, like the flintlock flies forward, it ignites what's in the pan. It's really unusual compared to modern weapons to have that delay between the powder igniting in the pan and the weapon actually sending around, or in this case, it's rounds down range. A little bit of recoil wasn't too bad. I mean, totally manageable, and I can see why this might have evened the odds in certain situations.
Absolutely.
More than 200 years ago, the Blunderbuss evens the odds during a critical battle of the American Revolution. After the legendary crossing of the Delaware, George Washington's army braves a 9-mile overnight march to Trenton, New Jersey. Arriving at daybreak, they attack a garrison of Hessian mercenaries fighting for the British. A few Americans carry blunderbusses. Their massive firepower helps overwhelm the Hessians. Trenton is a turning point in the Revolution. And the blunderbuss can take some credit for the victory. The blunderbuss was a primitive muzzle-loading weapon. The invention of self-contained ammo spurs the next major development in shotgun design. The most famous and long-lived shotgun of all time, the double-barrel break-action shotgun. So, what does break action mean?
Well, break action is this right here. It's breaking at the back of the barrels, so you weren't doing a muzzle loader anymore. You had a break action here at the back, could insert shells, close it back up, pull back your hammers, you're ready to go.
And do both barrels have to ignite at the same time, or can you let one go and then the other?
Well, as you can see here, there's 2 triggers.
Right.
So you can fire them both at the same time if you want, or one at a time. Left, right, left.
Depending on the number of targets and the intensity of violence that you need to get the job done. And I noticed that this particular shotgun has Wells Fargo and Company's Express on the back.
Yes, this is actually an original Wells Fargo and Company Express coach gun. They became known as coach guns because Wells Fargo started issuing these to each of their drivers. Usually you'd have a driver and a guy sitting next to him riding shotgun, providing security on the trail.
So when you call shotgun back in the day, you were calling literally...
You were calling literally shotgun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What kind of rate of fire do you think you can get out of this thing?
Depending on how skilled you were, you could probably get upwards of 25, 30 rounds a minute with this.
Have you ever fired this?
I have.
I have not, so I'm really eager to get on it.
Let's go to the range.
Okay. That was awesome. The double-barreled shotgun is no stranger to frontline fighting. During the Civil War, Confederate soldiers like this one brought his personal double-barreled shotgun to the battlefield. Its reputation for explosive destruction is well known. Armed with these weapons, Confederate raiding parties can overwhelm a Union outpost without firing a shot. Why are they so terrified? Watch this. To show just how devastating these double-aught buck rounds are, I brought in an old friend, the BGT ballistics gel torso. Now, this guy anatomically is correct to a human being. He's got lungs, he's got a heart, liver, internal organs, and also cradled up here in his skull helmet is a brain. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fire 2 double-aught buck rounds out of that coach gun into this BGT, and then we'll come back and see what kind of damage is done.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Let me see that thing. For maximum impact, I'm firing both barrels at once. anytime you pump, you know, 2 rounds of double-aught bucket, close range, through somebody's chest like that, you're gonna totally take out the heart. You're gonna get into the lungs, the liver. These rounds hit that tissue, started to decelerate, disperse all that energy, all that kinetic energy inside the body, ruptured the heart. I mean, this heart just exploded. And that's what this thing is made for, to stop a target, knock it down, and do some major damage.
So is there any way he could survive this?
No, absolutely not. That was a good question, though. As a combat firearm, the double-barreled shotgun's only limitation is its 2-shot load. To amp up the shotgun's firing capabilities, you need to look no further than John Moses Browning. Browning designed some of the most respected firearms in history. The M1911 handgun, the M1918 Browning automatic rifle, and the first .50 caliber machine gun. Browning is also a brilliant shotgun innovator. His first advance is the lever-action Winchester Model 1887. George Reines, a shotgun instructor and former Air Force sniper, has agreed to show me this landmark weapon.
The most important thing about the Winchester 1887 was it was the first successful repeating shotgun.
Browning designed his shotgun with a 5-round under-barrel tube magazine. Its lever action could spit out 15 rounds per minute. Although the lever-action shotgun is widely used by civilians, I know that the U.S. military never adopted it. Why is that?
John Browning was asked by Winchester to design this rifle. Winchester was known for their lever-action rifles, and they wanted the same trademark on their shotguns. John Browning knew that that technology was going to be outdated, and that if a shotgun was going to be successful for the military, it had to be fast, had to be really easily used. He basically said, do a pump action. Winchester said no, and he made this. You'll find out if you shoot this, it's going to be slow.
All right, well, let's check it out.
Give it a shot, man.
All right. All right, and I'm ready to fire, just like that, right? All righty. Ah! It helps if I chamber a round. Ah! Not my favorite.
Slow, awkward, and cumbersome, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that round, I mean, it was getting hung up on ejection, which isn't ideal, especially when you talk about engaging targets rapidly. But once that round was chambered and that front sight was on target, I mean, it's accurate. And anytime you're accurate, you're deadly. So, I mean, I could see that it is a functional weapon. It's just not the most functional.
Correct.
The very first shotguns fire multiple projectiles from a big single barrel. In the mid-1800s, its firepower doubles. John Browning cranks it up another notch with his 1887 lever-action shotgun. But Browning's Winchester Model 1897 is a whole new breed. Its pump action makes combat shotguns the undisputed masters of close-quarters combat.
The design has been used for all modern shotguns with a pump action for the past 100 years. So it's definitely one of those pivotal firearms of our time.
Was this the original pump-action shotgun?
This is what started every single pump-action shotgun that you know today, this design right here. And basically, this was the answer for World War I's trench war.
Now, in that particular theater of combat, how effective was this?
It was probably the most devastating small arms weapon that you're going to find aside from machine guns. This is the ticket. This is the moneymaker.
The infamous trenches of World War I sliced across Europe for more than 400 miles. opposing armies launch a harrowing war of attrition from their fortified trench works. Breaking the stalemate requires new weapons. The Winchester pump-action shotgun has the firepower to take on German forces. It's so devastating, Germany claims it violates the rules of war, and they try to have it banned. Their efforts fail. By the end of the conflict, the 1897 Winchester is known as the legendary trench gun.
So what the doughboys really like about this trench gun is when clearing a trench, they use a technique called slam firing. What that basically is you take the pump action, and every time you pull it back towards the breech with the trigger down, it's gonna go ahead and fire.
So let me get this straight. You just hold the trigger, work the pump, rounds go down range.
Exactly.
All right, man, let's see it.
Let's do it.
That was cool, man. I don't know if I like that, though.
Well,
the idea of not pulling that trigger every single time.
You got to put yourself in their position. If you can get a heavy volume of fire in there, the BBs will spread out and hit mass targets, and you'll be alive.
All right, man, that's cool. The trench gun could also be used in a surprising defensive role.
Another reason why the doughboys love this gun is for grenade defense. Basically, enemy troops are going to throw a grenade in the trench. Before it can reach it, they're going to shoot it out of the air with the trench gun. It sounds crazy, it sounds impossible, but I assure you it can be done. I challenge you to try it, man.
Should be like shooting skeet, right?
It's going to be the same thing. Concept, same.
Okay, well, we have some grenade simulators set up.
Nice.
You'll be throwing those. I'm going to try to shoot them out of the sky. If I hit them, they're loaded up with explosive.
Oof.
So we'll know whether or not I did a good job with it. On most battlefields, the opposing trenches were several hundred yards apart. For our test, George will toss 3 grenades from 100 feet, and I only have 5 rounds to knock them out of the sky. It's a good thing my life doesn't depend on my aim. I finally got one. 5th time's the charm. To be able to shoot a grenade out of the sky requires a familiarity with this weapon system that I obviously do not have. But, I mean, the doughboys who were using it in World War I, it was a more rural time in America. I mean, they were probably proficient bird hunters or game hunters at the time. The guys who employed this were very proficient with it. And I'd like to have a little bit more time with it, see what I can do.
Pull.
There's one person who'd have no problem shooting grenades out of the sky. 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Sergeant Vincent Hancock.
I'm only 23 years old now, and I won my first Olympics at 19, youngest male to do it. And I just want to keep going back.
This is your 2nd Olympic gold medal while being assigned to the Army Marksmanship Unit. What is the history behind the unit?
The unit was established in 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. We were to train soldiers how to shoot at a higher level and also to win more medals in the Olympics.
Any tips?
Always look at the front edge. That's
Okay.
the biggest key to shooting a shotgun is don't aim, just point and shoot.
So you're focusing on the target rather than the sights, is that correct?
Absolutely.
See, now this is different than typical Army marksmanship because they always taught me front sight, front sight, front sight, always, you know, looking at that front sight. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. All right, man, let's get started.
Let's do it.
I've never shot on a skeet range per se, so what am I looking to do here?
The first thing is you want to try to set your break point.
Okay,
On this high house target, you're going to try to break it about 5 feet before the stake.
okay,
And you're going to go up about 15 feet, so draw yourself a little box right there.
okay.
You're going to get a single on this
Okay.
one, then we're going to turn around and you're going to shoot a single over there.
Okay. Pull.
All right? All right, now the low house.
Okay. Pull.
There it was.
Oh, there
Very
it
nice.
is. Now that I've hit my first skeet, Sergeant Hancock is challenging me to a shootout. Did I mention he's a 2-time gold medalist?
All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to have a little competition. We're going to shoot 4 pairs on station 4. Okay. I'm gonna start it out to kind of show you what it's supposed to look like. Whoa.
Got them all, right?
Yep. All right, now it's you.
Pull. Ah! Mother's ass. Pull. Damn it. Pull. These skeets are faster than I expected. Damn it.
All right, now the low house first again.
Low house, okay. Gotten worse, if that's possible. Pull. Gotta remember, look at the target, not my front sight.
All right, shot the wrong one first. And in our game, if you do that, the first target's a loss, so you have to repeat it.
Okay.
All right, so I'll let you shoot it again.
Pull. I'm a little ashamed of myself right now. That's a pretty bad showing. But I mean, I think that with the knowledge that you've given me, I could be fairly successful. So anyway, man, I just want to thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it. You know, congratulations. You know, you repped, the United States well. You repped the United States Army, perfectly. And thank you for your service, man.
Thank you very much.
To perform his impressive trick shots, Sergeant Hancock uses a semi-automatic shotgun, a direct descendant of this one, the Auto 5. The first successful semi-auto shotgun and another brilliant innovation from John Browning. To fire this landmark shotgun, I've come to the National Firearms Museum, home to one of the greatest weapons collections of our time. One of the most important features of the Auto 5 in combat is its ability to lay down a hailstorm of fire when absolutely needed. So I want to check that out. Going hot. Clear. All right, so it has a little bit of kick to it. It's a great weapon. Rounds went exactly where they needed to go. Targets destroyed. The capability of a weapon system like this, especially when you start talking about in close quarters, you need to lay down a huge spread of fire, get some heads down, take out targets. A shotgun like the Auto 5 is kind of the way to go. The Auto 5 has a tubular 4-round underbarrel magazine. When a shell is fired, the barrel and bolt recoil together. This action ejects the spent shell, recocks the hammer, and loads another shell into the firing chamber. During World War II, the Auto 5 served with the Marines in bitter fighting against Japanese forces. When the Japanese continued to expand their empire into the Pacific, Makin Island is one of their first conquests, overrunning it in 2 days after attacking Pearl Harbor. Less than a year later, Marines delivered by submarine land on Macon to strike back. Some of them are armed with the Browning Auto 5. The surprise assault catches the Japanese completely off guard. Backed in part by the Auto 5's tremendous firepower, the Marines are victorious on Macon. It's a small but important advance in the long Pacific campaign. Even as the Browning Auto 5 is still being used by U.S. military, our Cold War adversaries in Russia aren't standing still. The shotgun that they used is based on the legendary AK-47 assault rifle. It's called the Saiga 12, and it packs a powerful punch. Weapons authority Martin J. Dougherty is an expert on the Saiga 12.
What I loved about the Saiga 12 was it shot fast, it was controllable, felt great.
Okay, Martin, I've never actually fired this particular combat shotgun. What can you tell me about it that might help me?
Well, you will find it familiar. It's the Saiga 12. It was developed from the AK series of assault rifles round about 1990. It's a 12-gauge semi-automatic shotgun.
I do see the similarities. I mean, obviously, they're like twins. Now, whenever we talk about combat, things like rates of fire and weight come into play. What's the rate of fire of this thing?
It's very fast. The action cycle's about as fast as the Benelli.
Like the AK-47, the Saiga 12 is a rotating bolt, gas-operated gun that feeds from a box magazine. The looser clearances between the internal parts of this AK-style design means high reliability. Are there things that can be done to shave some weight and size off of this thing?
Well, it's available in different configurations. You can get a folding stock, you can make various modifications. You've got different sizes of magazine, too.
Hey, so let's go give this thing a shot and see what happens. It's really long. I'm interested to see how it performs.
Let's do that.
Okay, this is my first time with the Saiga 12. I hear it packs a hell of a punch. Clear. All right, so there it is, the Saiga 12. Not my favorite weapon. It fires well. The shot patterns are on point. It obviously does the damage like any double-aught buck round would out of a shotgun. But compared to the Benelli, I don't like the fact that there's no pistol grip back here. I feel a little overextended with this particular weapon. Obviously does some serious damage, but I'd take the Benelli over this any day. Shotguns have long provided a tactical edge in close quarters combat. Now, an innovative new modular design combines their close-up firepower with the long-range lethality of the assault rifle. This compact weapon is built by Seymour Competition here in Warrenton, Virginia. It's the United States Army's newest combat shotgun, the M26 Modular Accessory Shotgun System, also known as MASS. As a standalone weapon, the M26 is much lighter than other combat shotguns. Clear. That's pretty cool, man. It's a great weapon system. Even though you're working the action with your hand, it's very smooth. It feels good in your hands. It's light. It's easy to keep into that shoulder. And because it does very closely resemble the configuration of what's being issued in the form of an M4 or an M16, I mean, I didn't have to change a thing. I was able to put multiple targets downrange, no problems whatsoever. This is a lot of fun, great weapon system. Ira Kay is the designer of this revolutionary new shotgun system.
The M26 is a very unique shotgun system. It's the lightest shotgun in the world that can fire 12-gauge rounds.
The M26 comes in two configurations, as an underbarrel accessory for the M4 or M16, or as a standalone weapon, including a pistol grip. This weapon system fulfills a capability that's required for a combat shotgun, which is to be small, compact, and it is an accessory weapon. It's never the primary weapon unless a target of opportunity presents itself. And you've managed to mount this underneath an M4 or M16 barrel, much the same way as like a M203 grenade launcher. And I've been told that this thing is really easy to take off of the M4.
This is the takedown pin, similar to the two pins on the M4 that you have here and here. Bullet nose, depress the pin, it's detented, and pull it out the other side.
So one takedown pin, look at that, it's off. So it's just as easy to get back on as it is to get off. So once I've got it lined up, push the pin.
There you are.
That's the easiest thing ever. I have to try the M26 shotgun M4 assault rifle combination myself. So we've set up a lineup of targets where I can use both weapons. Once the M4 takes out the small targets at 50 yards, it's time to switch to the M26 shotgun. breach the door, and eliminate the threats behind it. In an urban battle zone, this combination allows a soldier to be effective at distance or in close quarters combat, even with a compact shotgun.
Will, are you ready for the test?
Yes, sir.
Go.
It's time to switch to the M26. Overall, having this M26 mounted to the bottom of this M4 is a great force multiplier. It is a weapon that is definitely viable in today's day and age. You can really tailor your load for your specific mission, and that's a great thing to have. At the present time, the M26 is starting to be issued to the Army in Afghanistan, where it is hoped it will make a difference in house-to-house operations. Our exploration of the combat shotgun has profiled some extremely lethal weapons. Starting with the Blunderbuss, a one-blast body shredder. The double-barreled coach gun packs even more of a punch. We saw how John Browning raised the bar. First, with the Winchester lever action, then with the pump-action trench gun. And finally, with the first practical self-loading shotgun, the Auto 5. We tested the Mossberg 590, a pump-action favorite of the U.S. military for decades. And the Army's new M26, a tiny gun that packs a huge punch. Now, it's time to test the shotgun's role in a combat simulation. Each of the guns we've seen has proven effective on the battlefield. But in a lot of ways, the bottom line on the combat shotgun is this sleek beauty right here, the Benelli M4. And here to help me with my final challenge, I brought back George Reines. All right, man, break it down for me.
Here's your down and dirty mission brief. We got a small village that's being terrorized by an HVT, high-value target, who's a bomb maker. Your mission is to get in and out within 2 minutes, capture him alive. He's protected by an unknown amount of enemy sentries, which you can fire at will and terminate those.
And I see for this exercise, we've got drop targets and sentries on robotic platforms standing in for an opposing force.
That's correct. And your secondary mission, once we capture the HVT, is to find his cache of explosives and terminate them. I'll be providing sniper support as Overwatch.
So this will be a good drill to test the effectiveness of the different rounds available to a shotgun. I can already tell we're gonna need a breaching round for the door and maybe some buckshot rounds for whatever else might be in the way.
Your mission is to get in and get out in 2 minutes.
Let's do this.
All-man army, let's roll.
What I like about the Benelli is that if I have to load a different type of round, I can do that without worrying about cycling the action.
In position.
Roger, I got eyes on.
Ready to breach. Standing by.
Roger. 2 targets out front, engaging. Targets neutralized. Clear to go. Clear to go.
All right, I'm moving up to the door. I had a variety of rounds, everything from beanbag rounds, double-aught buck rounds, and breaching rounds. I'm breaching the first door. You got me?
Roger.
Target's down. Room's clear. As soon as I got through the door, there were 2 targets on the inside. Now, I had 2 rounds of double-aught buck loaded up after that breaching round. Ready to breach.
Hold position. I got 2 targets. 2 targets. Engaging.
Standing by. George told me to stand by because he had eyes on targets.
Targets neutralized. You're clear. HVT is all alone. HVT is all alone.
I loaded a less lethal round and went in.
Room's clear. Okay, he's still alive.
The HVT was hiding in the corner, so I hit this guy with a less lethal beanbag round, and that dropped him. Now I must destroy his explosives cache.
All right, I see a building to the north. Possible cache location. You have eyes on?
Roger that. Searching for explosives. Snake eyes, I can't see them.
Roger. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out.
Roger. I'll provide overwatch on your movement.
All right, looks like we've got our cache. I'm gonna blow this in place. How copy?
Roger that. Eyes on.
All right, stand by. Boomba, baby!
You know it's a good test when the fire trucks arrive.
Weapons clear.
Woo!
I like that.
Hell of a shot with a shotgun, brother.
I didn't know it was gonna go up like that.
What happened on the inside, but I want to know.
You know, you took out the 2 targets as I was approaching.
I breached the door. There were 2 targets on the inside. Followed up with double op buck on that. Of course, you gave me the standby.
Yeah, I had eyes on 2 individuals. Took them down.
Once I came into the room, I hit the HVT with a less lethal round, so he was still alive. Spotted this weapons, munitions depot, jumped out the window, and I'm gonna blow this in place. What was your overall impression?
Well, I mean, mission success, mission complete.
All right, well, thanks a lot for your help. I appreciate it,
Thanks
George.
for having me.
Thank you.
We've seen the combat shotgun evolve from a crude body blaster to a sophisticated weapon system that can kill or not kill, depending on the needs of the mission. It's been a hell of a journey, but one thing's clear. This ancient weapon has earned itself a vital place on the modern battlefield. I'm Wil Willis, locked and cleared. I'll see you next time on the range.